Hi, it's Ethnicgreenliving here, and welcome to all my new friends. And thank you for returning to all my previous ones. I am so excited to be back here with you to talk about the book Uninvited by Lisa Turquoise. And we are here this week to talk about chapter 4. And this chapter talks about just feeling alone in a crowded room. And I'm sure that a lot of you can relate to this, but as you guys know, we kind of start off, we have like a little format. We start off with just reflecting over questions or comments or prayer requests from the previous week, and then we go ahead and we get into questions, assignments, and things to ponder. So we are going to go ahead and get into the comments from last time, from week 3. So week 2, I took some comments from Instagram and Facebook. And this week I'm taking comments that were from here on YouTube. So Relaxing Scrap said she can't wait to get into chapter 3. JDA said perceived judgment is so true. We make many assumptions that many times are a reflection of our inner state. She said good job, and I am sure this study will help many women, even if you reach one. The talk has served through Creator blessings. That was really touching. And then Pat Green commented, Jesus doesn't participate in the rat race. He's into the slow rhythms of life, like abiding, delighting, dwelling. All words that require us to trust him with our pace and with our pace, with our place and our pace. I appreciate this quote as it reminds me to slow down and be present, abiding, delighting, and dwelling in him. And if you guys can remember, that was one of my favorites as well. So thank you guys so much for sharing that. I really appreciate it. And so to get into chapter 4, alone in a crowded room. How many of us can be in a crowded room, and be with so many people yet feel so alone? I'm a mommy of 5 kids, and it's me and my spouse. There were 7 of us. And could you imagine that even sometimes I feel alone? But I have some questions for you to think about, and I just want to share some of my thoughts from this week. Do I walk into a situation prepared with the fullness of God in me, free to look for ways to bless others? 1. Or 2, do I walk into a situation empty, dependent on others to look for ways to bless me? And I like to add that up to say, fill me up. If you're empty, if in the first situation you're prepared, you're looking for ways to bless others, I think about it as you're a full cup, you're a full vessel, you're willing to pour out, you're ready to pour out. I think about the second situation is you're empty and you can't fill anybody because you need some pouring into your own self. You need someone to fill you up. People prepared with the fullness of God have the fullness of God tucked within them. And so that's kind of goes along with what I was saying about how they're already full. They love from a place, a full place, not from an empty desperation. They are living loved. It's a mindset, see. It's a choice they make daily, and it's the only solution that works. Living loved. We have to tell our minds to live loved, and we have to tell our flesh no. I'm all into fitness and into health, and my ultimate goal is a marathon. The most I've run is 7 miles, but I had to tell my flesh no. My flesh would say, I don't want to stop, or I don't want to run. I don't want to run right now. I have to tell my flesh, we're going to run. We're running, we're training. And the person who can run 7 miles, but yet when they're starting out, it's like, oh my goodness, I can't even take 7 steps. But as I continue to tell my flesh, no, I'm not stopping. Yes, I'm going to run this. Then I'm able to continue on to the end. And when I get to the end, I'm like, oh, I can go a little bit further. So that's just an example in my life. Also, I am plant-based, predominantly vegan, organic, natural, non-GMO type lifestyle. But guess what? It's not easy. It hasn't always been easy. I had to tell my flesh no to that donut, to that cake, to that soda, to that candy, to that thing that I often want to go to, and often that thing that I know because growing up it was candies and chips and those comfort foods and those things that made me and often you and people feel good. We get ice cream, we get this, we get that. You got good grades, let's celebrate with the ice cream and pizza. You're not feeling good, let's celebrate. Let's get tissues and ice cream and stuff. But we have to tell our flesh no. It's really important. Being full of God's love settles, empowers, and brings out the best in who we are. Or the more full of the flesh we are, the more we grab at anyone and anything. Anyone and anything to fill that ache for love and acceptance. I'm going to stop right there. This book is really bringing up some things in me. Am I the only one who can say they have reached for things that didn't belong to them and that were not good or godly or for them? We're not just talking about that soda, that chip, that thing, but how many of us have looked for love in all the wrong places? Have we been with that person or trying to get that person's attention because we feel rejected or for whatever the reason? You can just think about in your own life. How many times do you feel yourself grabbing at anyone and anything? I'll use my son, for example. He told me a story one time and it hurt my heart. It disturbed my soul. He said to me, because there was this guy who's sometimes he likes him, sometimes he doesn't. Half the time he doesn't want to speak to him and be his friend, but then other times, he's cool and it's all right. So I said to him, son, is it better to have that kind of friend or no friend? Because I'd rather have no friend than a friend that's sometime and that I don't even know about that's questionable. And you know what he said? That friend. That friend is better than no friend. How many of us have that mindset in our life? That's a broken board. And we're going to fix that broken board by the time that we're done with this amazing book, Uninvited. Because we talked about the broken boards. You guys remember that in the chapter? The key to defeat the flesh is to fill yourself up with God's love. So, again, we talk about being healthy. If, let's say, you're going to have pizza, could maybe you have a salad first? Could you say, first we're going to have a salad, we're going to have some fruit, we're going to have some water, and then I'll get the pizza? Because then that way, you probably only get maybe 1-2 slices of pizza. But if you say, I'm going to eat the pizza first, okay? Then guess what? You will probably eat about 7, I don't know, maybe I'm just the only greedy one. Okay, I'm telling myself again. You'll probably eat 5 to 7 slices of pizza, And the pizza didn't really provide you all the nutrition that you needed. But think about it, if you eat a salad, some fruit, you had your water or, hot tea or whatever it is that you consume, a smoothie, you'd be more likely to eat less of that pizza or burger or fries or whatever it is. I'm just using pizza because I like pizza. But that is also applicable. I'm giving you that analogy and that example so that you can understand completely what I'm saying here. The key to defeat the flesh is to fill yourself up first with God's love. See, let's liken God's love to that salad and that fruit and that water, things that are good for you and things that are wholesome. And the more good, wholesome you have, the less likely you are to want those French fries and that burger and that pizza. Because listen, we know, okay, it can take a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes to work off that salad and fruit, and it can take a year to work off the results of those burgers and fries and pizza, okay? The things that we grab at won't fill us, but it'll hurt us because they lead us to feeling emptier and more rejected. So just think about that scenario that I just gave you with the food. Another one is think about, it takes a little bit of time. Think about food prep. Let's say you meal prepped for the week, okay? And so now you can just go home and just bam, 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 bam. But let's say you didn't meal prep one day. Well, now you're going through McDonald's or you're going through a fast food. You're spending about 3 times what you would have spent for the same meal at home. It's not fresh. It's not healthy. And again, it takes you a lot longer to work off, to exercise, to burn the calories from. And guess what? Often you feel bloated and gassy. And then you're just like, oh, why did I eat that? But if you were to fill yourself up with the good things, and if you stuck to the plan, which was filling yourself up, which was planning ahead of time with your meal prep, you wouldn't have been feeling that way. You wouldn't have been feeling empty. You wouldn't have been feeling, unhappy about the choice that you made, because you would have already had that plan and you would have been set. But when you deviated from the plan, that's when you had to change up things a little bit. The more we invite God in, the less we feel uninvited by others. So when you feel uninvited, the question you should ask yourself is, have I invited God in? You guys know we have questions of the week. The questions for you to just really look deep down inside and ponder are, do you walk into a room feeling empty, wanting and needing someone to fill you up? Or do you walk into a room feeling full, ready to pour into others and be a blessing to others? 2, is your mind and spirit winning the daily battle that you face, or is your flesh winning? 3, how do you tell your flesh no? Reflections. What are your biggest disappointments? 1. The second reflection. Were they from expectations that we had of others? Often they don't even know. I've been married 8 years, and this was a big challenge that I had in my marriage at first. I him to an expectation there was no way that he could ever meet. So the assignment for this week is to take 5 minutes every day this week to fill yourself up with God's love first. Based upon what you're about to read, or depending on when you watch this video, based upon what you have read, you can see the importance of filling yourself up with God first. And then you won't be tempted to look for or grab from other areas and other things and people to fill you up, because you'd already be filled with God's love. So on this week, I want you to live loved, and I want you to be invited. I truly appreciate you joining me for another week. Stay tuned next Monday. I'll be here to do it all over again. If you're new, go ahead and check the playlist that's entitled Books, and all of the chapters are there for you. I am on Instagram, Ethnicgreenliving, the same as my YouTube channel. You can check me out there. If you have a comment, if you have a question, if you have a prayer request, make sure to either comment on Instagram or here, let me know. Thank you again. Until next time, blessings.